So this one, so somebody's probably gonna be upset that I told this story. Because it's, I mean, looking back on it, it's hilarious to me. But I mean, I don't know. It's like one of those things. Like it's embarrassing for somebody else, and so I guess because I wasn't affected necessarily, I can look back on it and not even think about, not even think twice. And so, but anyway, I mean, it's not like we say names, but anyhow, we used to have testimony service at church on Sunday evenings. And so a lot of things can happen in testimony service. Some of the things that you hear are crazy. I mean, it's all supposed to be like uplifting, and you want to be able to uplift other people by the words of your testimonies. And so that's usually that's usually what would happen. That's what it's supposed to be. And so but everybody has their own version of the way that they tell their testimonies. And sometimes because we're still on a time limit, and so because you're singing songs in between, you're telling testimonies, but you still got to have the word. Maybe the choir will sing, I don't know, whatever it is that your church does, or what or it just varies, I guess, by whatever the pastor wants. And so but there, and so some people have said some crazy testimonies, bro, but there, there will also be times, because like I said, your testimony is only supposed to be 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 3, maybe. You know what I mean? Because there's just kind of a flow. And you know what I mean? So you're singing the congregational songs, praise the Lord, everybody, praise the Lord. And then so by the time that ends, somebody else will pop up and they'll give a testimony. And so so it was this one time when my church was my church was in a different building altogether. That's how long ago this was. But there was somebody was leading praise and worship. They were leading testimony service rather, and so testimony service, I mean, it was going on because, that's pretty much what you do, especially if you have a guest preacher coming in and you're waiting for them. They'll have you to sing more songs or whatever. But usually, they'll say exactly what they want to happen. And so, you get a couple testimonies, a couple songs out, and you're good. And we move on to the next thing. And so, testimony service had gone on for a little while. And this person was talking about, the person that was leading had stopped, and they were telling their testimony, which is fine. And so they had gone to one of those Benny Hinn revivals, where he just blowing on people, and they falling out, slapping them with the jacket, and they just so what happened was they were saying that when they got there, that well, first of all, they was explaining the different things that they were going through in terms of health stuff, which was the reason that they wanted to go to the revival in the first place. Unfortunately, they explained when they got there, it was the building was filled to capacity, nobody else could fit in, so they couldn't get in, and so there were people on the outside. Instead of being discouraged, they were, they had formed prayer circles and, and stuff like that. And so, this person was they were telling the testimony. Of course, it's one of those that I guess the story is hard to condense down to a couple of minutes, but you still have to do that because the flow of the service still has to go. And so, so yo, you know what I mean? You can't really give no, no setup in that type of that type of testimony is the kind that like you need a setup in order to be able to understand like the point that they were getting to. And so I've heard the testimony, so I know that it was, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they were saying anything wrong. It was just super long. And so like I said, testimony service have been going on anyway, like, you know, and so like this was, I think, supposed to be like the last one, and then we're going to go back into song. And so now usually, you know, that it's that, you know, like that testimony service of praise and worship is over if, you know, like you're in the midst of it. Like once the pastor comes in, you know, you have to kind of be mindful that, you know, that they're there, because now that, you know, like they're in the sanctuary, you kind of look back at them, you know, and you just kind of make eye contact. They'll let you know what it is that they want you to do. But this time, like that didn't happen. So he had come in, you know, pastor had come in, and so, you know, like he's ready like to move, because you know, we had already been in church all day. Night, you know, like night service was at like 5, and we would try to be out by like 6:30, 7 o'clock. And so, you know what I'm saying, like time was just, you know, it was time to, you know, it was time to wrap it up. But she wasn't facing the, you know what I'm saying, like the pastor didn't even look back. She's like just looking at the congregation, telling the testimony. And so I'm in the back of the church, and like, yo, I can already see like that pastor, my dad, he was making this face, like, you know, he was like ready for, you know what I'm saying? And so I think maybe a couple of people had tried to get her attention, but they weren't able to. And so like he was just like ready. He was like ready to go up. And so I was like, you know, nobody could, you know, like couldn't get the signal, you know, like the signal right to be able to you know, to tell them. And so I was like, oh, I already knew, you know what I'm saying, like that it was gonna be, you know, that this was gonna be bad. Like, so you know what I'm saying, like, or like something was gonna go down. So I just went to the bathroom. Like the bathroom was like right next to the, like, you know, it was directly outside the doors of the sanctuary. It was like not like a huge building, but, and so like I was like, oh, and I stepped into the bathroom, but I still heard everything that was going on. And so I didn't see it, but right in the middle of her testimony, he, like, my dad just got up, and you know what I mean? And he was just like, just, you know, like, all, it's like, okay, and we praise the Lord for, you know, for the testimony at this time, or we're gonna move further in the service and such and such and such. And it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like one of those, it's like, oh, like, you know, I mean, like, of course, I feel like I've been embarrassed enough to be able to not feel bad at, you know what I'm saying, like so much, you know, because it happens to everybody, you know what I'm saying, at some time or another in, you know, in church. And that's why, you know, like you just got to be mindful of what's going on, because, yo, like it can happen to you, like you know what I'm saying, like and so like right then, I mean, like it was like it was like funny, but it was like but then like it's like I couldn't laugh, you know what I'm saying, and I really genuinely felt bad, you know what I'm saying. And so, you know, like, but then like, so I'm like just trying to be out the way. I don't want to, like, I don't want to comment on it. I don't want to be I don't want to be in the sanctuary thinking about it and grinning, because you know when stuff happens in church, like, yo, you have to like try to not laugh. And so like you're like, for me, I really can't hold it in. So I'm just gonna be sitting in my seat like with my head down, like super low in the pew, or you know what I'm saying, like at that time, like I was in the sound room, but it's like, you know, but it was still in the sanctuary, so it's not like people can't see you. So it's either that or you just be like with the big grin on your face, like, you know what I mean, like. And so yo, I wasn't even safe in the bathroom, dog. Like I heard a knock, And then, so, you know, I came out and, you know, and you know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, like, yo, did you see, like, did you see what happened? I was like, nah. I didn't see what happened, yo. Yo, I was like, I wasn't lying because I really didn't see it. I left the sanctuary so that I didn't have to. And you know what I'm saying? Like, but I definitely heard what was, you know, like what was going on. What was going on. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and I felt bad, but it was like at the same time, like I understood from, you know, like from their point of view at the time. And I hope that the story is funny, you know, to them at this time. But, you know, it was like one of those, like, dag, yo. You know what I mean? Like, you feel bad, but I mean, everybody gotta take their L's in church, dog. Everybody gotta take their L's. I grew up in it, so you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we was kids, we was like making fun of like the way that people shout. We would mimic the saints and all that stuff. I mean, like, so it's like kind of one of those things. I guess maybe like a rite of passage. And so it was one of those, again, not funny at the time, and maybe funny afterwards to other people, but to them definitely not. It was like I said, you know, and then of course somebody tells you, like, and then you can't laugh, you know what I'm saying, like even after the fact, after it's all over. But man, I think that caused a little issue, and, you know, I mean, but they, you know, ended up dapping it up with my dad. They was mad at him for a little while, but you know what I'm saying, as we do, cats got over it, and you know what I'm saying, like it moved on. And so that's it. That's my church kid story.